Mr. Kevin Eudy, welcome to Influence. So social media, you're doing a lot of that now. You transition from police officer to social media influencer. I want to dig into a little bit of the people that have influenced your life.
Okay. There's four of them. My grandfather taught me what it looks like to be a man. Like I said, you know, he throws out that quote all the time when I was growing up, a man that's got to tell you what he's about really ain't about it. And for me, that just, it tells me that you should walk and let people see your character versus having to tell people what your character is.
Isn't that the truth?
And then my mom, just how strong she was and the amount of protection that I didn't see at the time that she laid down for me. And then both my kids, like my son is my best friend. He showed me what love is. But my daughter, that is my absolute baby. Like I love them both the same, but it's different type of love for each of them. So yeah, those would be the most influential people I know in my life.
And there's a lot of people that are watching this show that may not follow you, even though you got almost 9 million followers, right? There's some people out there maybe have never heard your story. Would you talk about that a little bit, about your mom and growing up in a house that you grew up in?
It was tough, man. I mean, my real mom and my real dad got divorced when I was 5, and we moved in with my grandmother for a little while, my grandmother and my grandfather for a little while. And things were great, man. We were doing good for a couple of years. Everything was fine. My mom was flourishing. Well, back in the day, you could put dating ads in the Charlotte Observer, but you go, hey, looking for such and such. Well, my mom had been a couple of years removed from seeing anybody, talking to anybody. She had placed the ad in, ends up meeting this guy. Turns out to be a complete narcissistic con artist. And from the time that I was 7, almost 8 years old till I was 17, I don't remember a day going by that I didn't get beat. I've had my nose broke, jaw broke, toes broke. Used to sleep in the closet holding the corner of my pillow because it was the only time that I with the door locked, hoping and praying that, you know, I wouldn't get beat on. And then when I turned 17, him and I got into a fight because I just got tired of it. And then when I moved in with my father, it was a year later. I had just graduated high school. I had moved out of my father's house because I started living with a friend of mine. They pull up at 1 o'clock in the morning and they tell me, hey, your mom's gone. And at first, I didn't want to believe them. I was like, "There's no way. Like, you're not my mom. That's not happening." I broke down, and from the time that I was probably 18 to 21, I was not a good human being. I was angry with God.
Just made you bitter, angry.
I was just angry with God because I couldn't understand it. I'm like, God, what else?
Yeah.
Like, what else you got for me? Like, I had to go through all of this. I can't play sports. I couldn't join the military because of the heart problems that I've had to go through all of these things. I said, what more do you want to take from me, God? And then one day I just broke down and I gave it all to God. I said, it's you. I said, you've been here the whole time. I said, I've been fighting it and fighting it. You won't let me fight it alone. I said, so it's you. I said, give me what you need. And I said, from that point forward, I made sure that I hold myself accountable for any poor choice or mistake that I make. I wrote a letter to my parent, my dad and my stepmom, every lie, every told, everything that I'd ever done, and said, don't listen to me, watch me. And here we are.
Brother, I applaud you because there's a lot of people that can go through that hard time. You talked about those years of bitterness and anger. You turn that around, you go into law enforcement. Is that when you entered into law enforcement?
Yeah, that's exactly. The year that happened, I went into law enforcement.
And that had a driving factor in that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us more about that.
I was angry at everything. I said, so it's only the hand of God and a few good police officers that I was even in that position. I said, so what can you use your gifts for now? The things that you've been through to truly help. So I got into law enforcement because my number one goal was that if I could take one baby out of a house like the house I had to go in.
So they didn't have to
didn't have to grow up like I went. If I could take one woman, give one woman the resources, the help that she would be able to remove herself, that my mom, another baby's mom didn't have to go through what my mom had to go through. That was my mindset. And fortunately, I was able to do that so many. It was just a beautiful thing, man, and it led me to know that, hey, this is where I was supposed to be.
Talk about that transition from police officer to social media influencer, because you were making impact as a police officer, but that's not why you left, you know, because of anything bad. No. You left because now you're making even more impact.
What can I use my gifts for the way God gave them to me to still do this? So I was able to go out and I've been able to do police seminars, and I've been able to talk about the good things that law enforcement and social media have in common. I've been able to talk to kids about mental health. I've been able to help moms get out of domestic violence situations.
And I appreciate that, you know, because I get a chance to travel and speak in middle schools, high schools on bullying and suicide prevention. And, what I love about doing this show is digging in deep, right? These aren't highlights.
No,
when you talk about your mom,
no, they're not.
you know, we're so used to like shaking someone's hand, how you doing? And the typical answer is,
I'm good.
I'm good, right? I'm fine. It's just incredible. And of what you're doing with that and the way that you're impacting lives there. What word of advice would you have for anybody that's watching this show that they're ready to give up, man? They're believing every illusion in life, every lie, that they should give up, that they're not going to be missed. Nobody cares about me.
First thing I would say, you're not a burden. Just because your pain is different than somebody else's pain doesn't make theirs irrelevant. And if you're struggling right now and you happen to be listening to this, the one thing I would say to you is like, don't turn a temporary problem into a permanent solution.
That's good.
That's the one thing that I would say. I said, because I can't promise you that tomorrow all your troubles will be away, but I can promise you if you give up today, you'll never know. Contact me, contact Tom, reach out to our emails, 988-24/7. You can text that number, you can call that number, and I promise you, any day, time of week, 24 hours, somebody will pick up that phone and direct you how to get help. But I promise you, if you decide to give up now, you will never know 6 months from now how courageous and how amazing your life would be. And I've had those conversations with people where I say, give it 6 months. Keep fighting with me one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. Give it 6 months. And I said, then report back, and I'm going to check in weekly with you. And then 6 months later, they come back and they're crying and they're happy. And it's like, I didn't expect my life to be here. And I was like, you would have never known if you had, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I said, you would have never known if you give up. And that's just the beautiful mindset is like, nobody's problems are bigger than anybody else's. But the mindset has to be that no matter what I struggle with today, God's got me tomorrow. All I got to do is be willing to fight.
Kevin Eudy, it's been an honor to have you on the show, man. I appreciate you being raw, being real, sharing your personal story, and allowing us to dive a little deeper, man.
Brother,
I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.